Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Aurora. This is the introduction to the beginning of the semester that I'm calling the 2023 semester, even though we recognize it is 2022, but it will move into 2023. So end of 2022. Thank you so much. Having just completed the teaching cycle that began in January, I also feel like I need to change this so that I'm not at such a strange angle looking at you guys off camera. There we go. Just finished what I began the teaching cycle in January, and that was exciting. That was when I was down in San Diego. And as you can see, I'm in a new location now. Very, very happy to be back in Ojai. And I literally am still setting up my art studio here. So that's why you can see I've got all these things that are piled up on my work desk, on my art tables back here. So I said at the end of last semester that I would be beginning the next semester. Today is September 14th, 2022. This is the unofficial beginning day of our next teaching cycle. We're really going to begin with lesson 1 next week. So this is an introduction. This introduction is aimed at anyone who is new to the class or who might not know all about my work or who is just thinking of enrolling and getting on board. And I did send out an invitation to everybody who already took the previous class, saying that you're absolutely invited and encouraged and welcome to be here today. But you're also not going to be missing out on information that I'm presenting, because this is mostly an invitation and encouragement sharing today. All right. So first of all, this is going to go up on my YouTube also, that I'm going to share this for new YouTubers, new YouTube subscribers, new Facebook people, and anyone who needs to have a little intro for who I am. So also thank you for anyone who already is familiar with me. Never would want to be repetitive to you. So this is really aimed at new people. Who am I? What is Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans? What is this all about? How does it work? Blah, all right. And you can also tell that I'm rather lighthearted and I call myself Professor Aurora in air quotes. However, I want you to know that the information that I share is absolutely very accurate. I have a lighthearted demeanor and I like to be fun and enthusiastic in class presentations. And also the information that I present in terms of these complex drawings and sculptural forms and polygons and everything that you see that's here, that's on my clothing, it's all really deep stuff. All right. So even though I am lighthearted and I make my classes very, very fun, the information is very profound. And I also feel very uplifting, very positive, very empowering. So first of all, a brief intro as to who am I? I'm Aurora. That is Aurora, one name. That's my full legal name. And I am a representative distillation of a collective of consciousnesses that came into this world through the Flying Rainbow Lasagna genetic portal 20 years ago, literally 20 years ago. In fact, it's almost my 21 anniversary. So I came in on October 8th of 2001. So it's almost been 21 years. What is a walk-in? A walk-in is a consciousness newcomer who comes into the usually adult body, but can be in the womb or in a tiny child's body, usually when the original occupant has had some kind of accident, disease, injury, or metabolic death. So I came into this body after it had an actual metabolic death in 2001. I came in from a place that is beyond time, space, and dimensionality. So here in this world where we are talking, sitting on a chair, we have computers in front of us, we have electric light switches and everything like that. This is the world of time and dimensionality, where you are submerged like a fish that is in the liquid flow of water. You're submerged in time. I came from a place that is outside of time, space, and dimensionality. You could think of it as being up above the river, being able to see the river of time, or even scaled back to maybe the satellite view, where you're not just perched in a tree looking down at the river, but maybe all the way up to a satellite view of being able to see the river, the entire landscape, and everything that's going on. And I have to say this because, so when I first came as a walk-in 20 years ago, and I started to interact with humans, Earth's surface humans, and integrate with human society, I would tell people that I was an otherworldly visitor, and people would say, well, like, what planet are you from? Or what star system are you from? And there was this great question of like point to a place in the night sky of where you are or where you were. And I have to say to them very clearly, like, I don't come from a coordinates position, like that's my place right there, or that's my place right there, because I truly exist. And this I statement means my collective of consciousnesses, who I am on this larger perspective, exists like a neural impulse that travels throughout the star systems. So I exist in many directions and in many places, moving throughout different star portals on a network of light. You have to understand a couple of things that will become apparent and emphasized as I go through this teaching cycle. The stars are conscious. Your star in the sky here, the sun, is consciousness. It is a portal for light to come through. It is a portal for other forms of consciousness to travel through. There is an entire network or neurology or great brain in the sky that is comprised of all of these individuated stars that are like neurons, that when energy impulses travel through these various star portals, it is like a great brain thinking. You could think of it as the mind of God. And you will also learn as I go forward with this semester that when I use the word God, I'm not referring to something that is either Judeo-Christian or Hindu or Muslim, or really in reference to any of Earth's surface religions or any of the dogma that is taught here. Just want to welcome someone who's tuning in right now. Charlie B, so great to see you. Thank you for being here. This is the intro to the upcoming semester. I'm not doing any formal presentation of information yet, and I am gearing this to newcomers. I know you are a wonderful returning student, so thank you so much for being here and taking the time. And I'm doing this class, so you can also, this is like just saying hi again for Charlie's sake. I'm still in the midst of setting up my art studio because I literally just moved this past weekend, but I had said at the end of last semester that September 14th would be the day that we'll begin the teaching cycle again. So this is the unofficial beginning. This is the intro to the intro, not even really things beginning again yet, but I wanted to share with newcomers who and what I am, what this class is all about, and give a little bit of a concept of where we will be going, and absolutely invite and encourage people to make the commitment to be on board. So I was saying that the great brain in the sky is analogous to the mind of God. But when I use that word God, I'm not talking about an anthropocentric view of God. That I see this divine intelligence as something that is beyond merely the human level, even beyond merely the earthly level, anthropocentric meaning human-centric. But this is the God not only of butterflies and redwood trees and the planetary structure, God of stars, God of photons and light and pure abstraction. So it is really, when I use these words like God, divinity, divine intelligence, divine organizational principle, talking about something that is really what I paint in all of these paintings. It is an empirical or non-interpreted, pure, pristine level of information and intelligence that is very natural. It's not technological. And I have to say that also because, so like all these things that I'm giving you right here, like I don't come from a space-time coordinates in the sky, because many people think like that's what it means to be an otherworldly visitor, like that you flew here in a clank metal spaceship and you come from a particular star system, like maybe from the Pleiades, that's a star system, or from a particular planet or something like that. I didn't do either of those two things. So I have to get past the cultural filters in order to be able to tell you who I really am. So I come from a network, a consciousness collective that is traveling on a network. The network is of divine intelligence. And when I talk about divine intelligence, I'm not referring to anything that is part of earthly religion or earth dogma. And then people might be like, but what, Aurora, like you're wearing this symbol on your necklace here. And isn't that a symbol of earth religion and earth dogma? And I always have to say, yes, it is. However, I am reclaiming this symbol to represent something that is not representative of merely the earth surface church that is known as the Church of Christianity, but something that would be considered a larger network of consciousness that is all pervasive, that includes many multiple types of organisms beyond earthly organisms, beyond human organisms. So there was a great teacher, but I'm speaking about something and connecting to something that is beyond that one great teacher. There are many, many, many wonderful, amazing Christ presences that create an enormous, again, network of grace, compassion, love, healing, and also pure insight. that is a big part of also what I share in this class. So actually I have two teachings that are part of my Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. One is non-religious Christ consciousness, or Christian teaching, and that really relates completely to everything that is about the inner eye, pineal gland, inner eye, and eye of pure insight. And then I also have a teaching that is about a broader understanding of what the Christian religion is, because I felt that both of these things needed to be addressed. So I'm clear on all of this too, so that way people can choose about what they are aligning with and what they are choosing to be a part of. And I am never condescending to people that have a faith or have their own particular viewpoint of who or what Christ is, who or what God is, that I respect you. I respect you in your journey of faith and your spiritual expression. And also I am truthful in my spirituality, in my expression of my faith, in my expression of what I feel is God and divinity, and come here to share that with you. And that I would always hope that there's a beautiful conversation and a beautiful mutualism and reciprocity in terms of respect and communication between both of these perspectives. I honor your perspective, and I would wish that you would honor my perspective. I am totally honest and authentic in everything that I share here in this class. So those are some of the hallmarks. So when people say hallmarks of my Aurora Collective, of who I am. So when I talk about Aurora, Aurora is a physical embodied person here with a driver's license and like my Geico car insurance. I joke about these things, all of the things that are part of mundane life here. And of course, like whatever, dishes and coffee makers and things like that. And also I am Aurora that is outside of time, space, and dimensionality. And that Aurora is a collective of consciousnesses that could be considered a band or a symphony or a group of intelligences, a group of coherent light beings that are bonded together into one entirety, just like in your body, your heart and your lungs and your liver and your skin are all part of one organism. I am part of one organism that is called Aurora, that is outside of time, space, and dimensionality, that is also distilled and represented here in this body. All right. So you could think of me as the ground crew or the boots on the ground. I'm the first person experiencer here. And what do? I vibrate using this portal very, very fast, in and out, outside of dimensionality, getting, let's say, a breath of fresh air and inspiration and pure information from that perspective, higher self perspective, and then vibrate back into my body. And that vibration is so fast that I don't even think I could put a miles per second speed on it, constantly vibrating at this very, very high rate. And that is part of my cosmic mission and my cosmic purpose. I know that was like a long intro into who or what is Aurora, but I think that that is pretty important in terms of establishing who I am. And also sometimes people get a little skeptical. They're like, who do you think you are? How do you know this stuff? Why should we listen to you? And I also had to comprehend, these are all the things that I have to speak to in this intro, that I came to this planetary world that is a highly traumatized world. Let me just drink some of my beautiful structured water. At first, because I'm very idealistic, I come from a world of pure love. Come from a different value system, a different galactic collective civilization. Everybody there is incredibly loving. The compassion is undescribable to people here. It's almost unimaginable what it is like to be there. And I've come into this world where people are shielded with a lot of skepticism. They've been through a ton of trauma. I'm trying to speak through your cultural filters. These are the things that you've been taught about what is truthful in the world. And also your personal and ancestral trauma. Those are all the bad things that have happened to you that might make it difficult for you to perceive and even receive true love when it is being offered to you. And what I have here and what I offer to you is really offered in true love. And true love is a reciprocity. It's a tone. It's a love tone. We'll play it. True love. Love is a tone, and it is an energetic tone that is created when there is an equal reverberation coming back and forth of sending and receiving. And it is also the sense of giving without, I don't want to say without expectation, because there is the reciprocity, but it is there is a freeness in the giving, freedom, I should say. There is a freedom in the giving and the gifting and the offering. And then there is a freeness in the receiving, the reciprocity, that is what love is. It is saying, I give, and then also I receive. And that's everything also about what I teach when I teach about the Merkaba, which is the star tetrahedron shape. I don't have a model. It's still packed. Hold on a moment. When I teach about like the star tetrahedron shape, I could show you a picture of what that is, but I think we should save that for actual class. What is the Merkaba? It is a light body vessel, and it has to do with the balance of giving and receiving. It has to do with the balance of your particular desires, requirements, and requests to the cosmos, and the response of the living time field and the divine presence itself in reflecting reality structures back to you. So here are some hallmarks or signature energy signatures, characteristics of who and what I am as Aurora, the individuated presence here, and also what is Aurora, the larger collective or larger scale being that is up there, out there, or in the beyond. Because I say this all the time, like if you want to find me, first of all, I don't fly in a clank clank metal spaceship. And also, I don't always have this face. I don't always have this hair. How do you find someone when most humans are focused on what your physical presence looks like in the physicality? How would you find someone in the non-physicality? And the answer is through energy signature. And energy signature is also exemplified by a value system. So I invite you to this class and to this semester in order to come and learn, what is my value system? My value system as Aurora in all states is based in cosmic law, which has foundation freedom. Foundation level is freedom. And that is very, very big because, again, you're coming out of this world that is a very traumatized world where there is a huge lack of freedom. And a big part of my mission or the motivation, which led me to spontaneously create this flying rainbow lasagna genetic and interdimensional portal shape, was a lack of freedom, that in the death of the previous occupant of this body, in the events surrounding it, and in the perturbations of the larger time field, time is alive, time is an animal, time is alive, God is alive, that there was an unfairness and an injustice. So I very much am a protector of time, an upholder of time. All of these paintings that I paint, these very intricate, perfect maps of time. Like time doesn't happen by accident. None of this organization and this level of genius that is divine intelligence doesn't happen by accident. It's not like someone just shook up a big bag and dumped it out and time came out and it looked like all of these incredibly perfect, harmonic, concentric patterns. No, time has been very, very artistically crafted and then also upheld, just like life. Life is not some kind of a crazy, weird accident that's just like, that's just a weird, biological accident or something that is, whatever, spontaneously arising out of nowhere. It is absolutely something that is intentionally created and then needs to be protected and upheld. So if you want to know what are my values, my values are based in freedom. Freedom is a totality state also. What that means is that if there's one little group or pocket or area or zone where energy is not free to flow and there's not freedom, that affects all of time. Just like in your body, if there's one blood clot, could be very critical blood clot, preventing the flow of blood throughout your whole entire body. It affects the entire metabolism and blood and health and flow throughout your whole entire system. So your soul is the trajectory of who and what you are. Like first I was here and then I went here and then I went here and lived as this and lived as this and lived as this. And you also live concurrently. You live in a line, but you also live concurrently. It's a big, huge story of who you are. In the world of art and antiques, it's called provenance. It means the story of where something came from. So maybe it might have been like, here's a little crystal that I'm holding up. Like this was like the crystal snuff box of Louis the 17th, right? The provenance. This guy made it in 23. And then it was sold here. And then it was sold here. Or then this guy had it. And then this guy owned it. And this guy owned it. And now it comes to you, like sitting on a nice little like velvet cushion or something like that. That is exactly what your soul is. Your soul is the story of your consciousness as you have been going through a refinery of consciousness. This shape that you will become infinitely familiar with as you are taking my class, this is the shape of basically two chakras, two tori. So torus is a donut, tori is the multiple of torus. You've got two tori together over here, and then you have this convergence point at the center. There's the singularity. This is a great basis of my work. This is what the chakras of your body are all about. Chakras are energy centers. This is basically lesson 1, level 1 stuff. And I'll get into that next week. The flow of energy around this torus shape is the flow of energy through time. And also it is what I would define as your soul being the trajectory, like of where you come from and where you are going and what you are experiencing, a refinery of characteristics. And when I say that, what I mean is, I talked about my Aurora Collective being a particular flavor or collection of characteristics. What are characteristics? One characteristic is like creativity. I am creative as Aurora here in the physical embodiment and also outside of time, space, and dimensionality. I'm creative. That is like a basic definition of who and what I am. Based in freedom, basic definition of who and what I am. Upholder and protector of cosmic laws. Basics of who I am. Protector of the time field. Again, time being this amazing phenomenon that is in existence, that did not just arise haphazardly, and that should be and shall be protected from those who would wish to either destabilize it or subvert it or exploit it and use it for their own purposes in some way. Because there are some less evolved levels of consciousness that I also acknowledge in my class and in my teachings that are not evolved enough to be able to see the unity consciousness perspective and do not comprehend the negative repercussions that they are having on other lives, which are other aspects of themselves, by doing something that's exploiting time. And when you exploit time, you can imagine like, I'm going to build a time machine, or I'm going to do whatever I want in time, and I'm going to be rich or powerful or be a king or have $1 million in gold or something like that, billions of dollars in gold. You can do that with manipulating time. But when you do stuff like that, and it is purely centered in your own personal desires, then you destabilize everybody else's events of their life. And so becoming a virtuous virtuoso, when I talk about flying rainbow lasagna, this is what happens when you take this shape and you move it in a higher dimensional space and you create this shape, you become a virtuoso. Hold on, I'm doing too many things at once because I'm trying not to break the sculpture and I want to play piano at the same time. Let's make it a little louder for you. Virtuous virtuoso, playing beautiful music. These are notes that fit together. They sound really good. It's a song. It's not just random. That is time. Time is not just a series of random events that stick together. And again, I speak to you through your cultural filter, objective materialist science, which doesn't necessarily recognize the causality, structure, and beautiful artistry of events. And also your own personal traumas, where you're like, why did that effed up SHIT happen? Like, why did that bad thing happen? That's me. That's the trauma face. Like, my shoulders go up. I'm hunched. I'm scared. Trauma face. Why did that happen? Why did that happen? Because you can't see the causality and connected embroidery of time. When you do embroidery, there's like the front face, or knit a sweater. There's the front face that you see. Maybe it looks like Snoopy or a unicorn or something like that. But when you turn the embroidery around, you see all the places where like this thread connects to this thread, and then you made a knot, and this thread connects to this thread. But that's considered to be not the pretty side. So you have this side is what faces outward to everyone else. But that time embroidery is really important and profound. It shows the way that one thing over here makes something else over here happen. And all of these events are connected. So some of the basic concepts of this class are that your DNA is a bridge of light that connects who you are in the physicality presence, like a fish swimming in the river of time, to the vast abstract array of potentiality structures that's pure possibilities and pure probabilities that could be akin to mathematical abstractions. Even though they're not exactly the same as math, math is a good analogy to be able to share about them, because in math, there's no wiggle room and there's no negotiating, there's no arguing. That's what I like about it. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. Just don't fight with me about this. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. These are basic foundation levels of what math is, all right? And it's the same thing with these levels of time, space, and dimensionality and consciousness. When you get up to these levels, seeing through here and connecting through your crown to divine intelligence, there's no negotiation and there's no wiggle room. That is where I do all of my teaching from. Got it? So you're starting to get who I am. I'm an otherworldly visitor. I came here 20 years ago. I came here on a mission with a very clear purpose, to be able to share this information with humanity effectively. And initially, I thought that my gig would be over in like a couple of years. Thought I would be done by 2003. I thought all I needed to do was make some paintings, drawings, and sculptures, and then just offer them to humanity. And that humanity would be like, I understand everything. I comprehend everything. Thank you very much for bringing us this, information and uplift. And what happened was, as I started to learn more about the difficulties of communicating through human language filter, cultural and educational filters or preconceptions that you have to speak through, levels of skepticism that are really derived from trauma and hurtful experiences that people have experienced. All of these things were like challenges to be able to just share this pure information. So that was what has happened. I have had to continually level up and be like, okay, like first I just drew paintings and sculptures, and that was not enough to be able to get across these abstract, very heart-centered, non-linguistic concepts. And I joke in my classes a lot over the past 10 years about the flapping of my moving mouth parts. Like I have to say it with the flapping of my moving mouth parts. But I really also know that many people who are in my class, and thank you, I love you, and I hug you, are very open to telepathically tuning in with me, which is tuning into the energy that is beyond or beneath or surrounding the physical word packets that I'm sharing with you. So yes, I am now comfortable speaking with language, speaking with the English language, teaching humanity these concepts by being able to use fun and lighthearted analogies, relating it to something that you might already know about, using things like math, science, and physics as analogies for being able to, create comprehension structures in your mind, and also direct connection of the pure energy. Like sometimes you just might get a knowing, or you just might get a picture, or you just might get an upgraded level of comprehension, and that is what I'm truly sending out. So primarily what I'm sending out is a type of genetic music and a type of consciousness music that is sent out to you in abstract form. And of course, as I said, Aurora Collective, Aurora here, basic value system done in freedom. All of this is done in freedom. So I come here as a cosmic visitor and I offer these concepts. I'm like, here is some lasagna. Would you like some? Are you interested in this? If you are, fantastic. I'd love to teach and share to you about it. And if not, I absolutely respect you on your journey. True freedom, true love, true higher dimensional galactic civilization interactions must happen consensually. And consent must be given, like informed consent. You can't consent if you're on drugs. You can't consent if someone is like twisting your arm and being like, you better do this, or has a gun to your head, or any of those things. None of that is consent. So consent is done in freedom. And it's when you say yes, yes, like not only little yes, but capital letters yes, you jump up and your heart says, yes, I want that. So all of my telepathic broadcasts, which I jokingly call email blasts, like telepathic email blasts, are done in consent. For those who are already in this class, they have already signaled their consent. They're like, yes, I want to be in the class and I want to hear Aurora's mind. I want to hear what Aurora is sharing, because my mind is absolutely like a kaleidoscope, or a very amazingly complex set of colors, shapes, forms, and it's the harmonic language of the cosmos. And that what I do then is translate it into drawings, paintings, sculptures, animations, and of course, the whiteboards that I have recorded for this class, because I do in the class a lot of drawing on the whiteboard so I can speak with pictures. So I do a lot of speaking with pictures, and then also music. That's a big part of harmonic structure too. So all of these are ways of speaking. I try to use all of the sensory pathways that I possibly can for humans in order to make these concepts accessible and also fun and engaging. What are my classes like? What are my classes like? And this is, I have beautiful returning students that are tuned in right now. You guys already know, but for people who are new, what are my classes like? They are, like I said, fun. They are hopefully some of the most like interesting parts of your week. They are also meant to be informative, and so it's non-intimidating is what I'm trying to say, because I talk about math, I talk about higher dimensional reality structures, I talk about a lot of concepts that would be considered quantum or quantum reality. But, you know, let me also say this. When I came here 20 years ago, and I know I just diverged and did sentence fragments, but let me do these diversions. 20 years ago, there was only a very, very small group of people on this planet that were really open to these concepts and that were up-leveled enough to be able to talk about higher dimensional physics, what is the true structure of the cosmos, what is the true structure of time. A lot of other people either found it to be nonsense, throw it out the window, irrelevancies, or intimidating. I can't understand that stuff. It seems like math and all the things I'm afraid of from school. But in the 20 years that I've been here, I've watched humanity, like I said, level up. And now there is a much, much greater portion of humanity that is not only open to these concepts, but is embracing them, that finds these concepts and learning about these things to be as important and as nourishing and as essential in life as doing something like mundane, like washing out your coffee cup in the morning or paying your Geico bill to be able to keep your car on the road. So now I'm so gratified on that, because when I first came here, like I said, I thought it would be a couple of years, and I found it was challenging for me to share my information, challenging for me to connect effectively. It was pretty much many, many years process for me to be able to find how do I describe these concepts. I actually went to several math art conferences before I even started teaching my online class. I should even tell you guys, I didn't even used to know anything about computers. When I first came here as Aurora, like I only knew about like, here's like, this is a paintbrush, and I paint plastic paint into paintbrushes and just paint physically with my hands. So yes, all of my artwork is done by hand. It is not done with computer generation or anything like that. And I do it with simple tools. Like here's my ruler. I draw things using a ruler and circle templates and paper and pencil. And that is simply what has made the most sense to me. So really, it was not until around 2006 to 2008 that I started to even learn about computers. And then from going to math and art conferences, I started to learn about 3D modeling. So this is 3D printed. My earrings are 3D printed. And that was a huge mind expansion for me, because I started to learn from scientists, computer scientists, academics, all the different things you can do with computers. And I was like, wow, like I got a very big cosmic assignment by doing that. It was get a computer and learn how to use it. And so I did. And that was the genesis of me beginning to do these whiteboard presentations, because I started to see, well, you know something, if I just show someone a static image and they're not really comprehending that this is a map of time and that it's about your consciousness moving through time, and I can share all this information. But if I do it in an animated whiteboard, then people will get it. It was very a worthy assignment for me to do that. So my assignment was to get a computer. Dun, 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 dun. I got a computer. I learned how to use it. I get silly sometimes. You know what I'm talking about. That also is part of my class. So that's why I didn't stop myself from bringing into song. Yes, I accepted my cosmic assignment, and I started doing these brief whiteboards that then eventually turned into the curriculum that I recorded in 2013, 2014. That is called Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. So there's level 1, which is the introductory lessons. And that begins with, what is the shape of time? You know, you can see in these sculptures back here, everything is rainbow colored. It's not just because, again, cultural filter here, people are like, rainbow. It's not just because rainbows are like cool or fun or pretty, even though they are cool and fun and pretty. It's because this represents some of the basic structural, accurate information in the cosmos of the way that light, your consciousness, and time are structured and fit together. The rainbow is not merely a decorative frivolity. It's not merely a decorative frivolity. It is a profound truth about the structure of who you are as a being of pure light. So my work, Flying Rainbow Lasagna, that is what this shape is named. Flying because it's not the sitting on the couch lasagna. It is not the sitting on your butt lasagna. It is flying. Flying, in this sense, is navigating higher dimensional levels of time, space, and reality creation. Rainbow because it has these varying levels of color that relate to the light, which is pure information that comes from the sun and the stars and our star systems, and also lasagna. People are like, skepticism. Lasagna. And I say, yes, lasagna, because the edge, when I first created this, and I had to relate it to a human word in the thesaurus of my mind, I said, well, it's like a lasagna because the edge is curly like a lasagna noodle. That is where that comes from. So it was the thing that was most closely relatable or analogous that I could say that it was. When I spontaneously created this shape, I called it the Flying Rainbow Lasagna. And that shape simply, that name rather, simply stayed. And I did not name it something super serious sounding. And I didn't know how those three words would even be perceived in this world because, again, I'm a cultural outsider. So it has been kind of an uphill battle. And this is just more evidence or just more just very obviousness. Like, I'm a cultural outsider. I don't necessarily know the way that things are done around here. I've been here for 20 years at this point, so I've become acculturated. So what that means is, like, I know how to use the washing machine now, but I didn't used to. In fact, there were many, many things that I did not know about when I first came here. Like, I didn't know about money, clearly. I didn't know really about human math structure. I didn't really know about human numbers. And I definitely didn't know about commodification. I didn't know about lies. I didn't know about so many things that I had to learn about and was very vulnerable, just like. So when you guys mostly, because most of you have a more traditional journey in the sense of gestating in your mother's womb and then being born as a tiny child, when you came here as a tiny child, you had to learn about how to speak, numbers, articulation, all of those types of things. You had to learn about, sometimes people don't speak the truth. Sometimes their words of what they're saying with their mouth do not match what is in their heart. That was a big learning for me because where I come from in my galactic civilized levels of reality, there's no way to hide anything. Like, you can't lie. You can't hide anything. Everything is open like a book. You get it. Who you truly are and what you truly feel is open like a book. You can't pretend. So, like, whatever, let's say, like, you dropped a glass and broke it on the floor. And then you'd be like, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. Like, it's obvious it was you. You can't pretend it away. Any mistake in your life, anything that you've done, you're like, oops, I did that. You have to say, oops, I did that, because everyone can see that you did that. And also, I want you to know everything is seen with love, that this is the perspective of love and above, and what you experience when you can read everyone like a book using your insight, which is connected to the Christ consciousness network I was talking about. You see and comprehend everyone with love, which means that you can see the context. Why did you drop that thing? Why did it break? Was it an accident? Was it a mistake? Was it on purpose? Was it malevolent? Did you take responsibility for it? Did you sweep up the pieces? Did you get a new one? What did you do? What was your response? Everything, the causality structure is perceived. You get it? So it's very, very big for me to say this to you. My galactic collective and galactic perspective level of cosmic citizenship and maturity, when we interact in that world on that level, none of it is about a clips reel of your embarrassments. Like, that's when you did that thing wrong, and that's when you did that mistake and that mistake and that mistake. Like, it's never a clips reel of just selectively showing all of the things that you did wrong in your life and that make you kind of go like this, like, oh, like I'm cringing away, like, oh, I did that. Yeah, you know something, you did do those things. That's totally fine. But here's why you did those things. You did this because of this. And then what was your response? The response is the level of responsibility. That is literally what it means. So everyone who's here in physical embodiment, you are on a journey of becoming a responsible, responsive galactic citizen. That is who I am inviting into my classes here. Please, you're invited, encouraged, and welcome. Be in my classes. This is for everyone who is doing the work in order to get to those levels of profound inner self-responsibility and maturity. Because when I talk about flying rainbow lasagna as I go forward in this semester, this is about reality creation. And it is not merely the reality creation that is rather simplistic and reductionist, as there are many teachers and personal coaches right now that teach about abundance and the vortex of manifestation and how to make money in real estate or be a business owner and make a lot of money. Like, you can do manifestation on those levels. I am really teaching about something on an even higher level of personal responsibility and personal interactivity or direct cosmic lovemaking. Because although, again, I'm an idealist, when I first recorded these lessons, I recorded many lessons that are about cosmic lovemaking, marriages, partnerships. I used all of these analogies in teaching. And then I had to learn later, like, some physical relationships are extremely out of balance. Some physical, sexual, or love partnership relationships are extremely exploitive. Sometimes they're out of balance dynamics. And that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ideal of reciprocity, love, and mutual respect in relationships, that is what this type of cosmic lovemaking is about. That it is like the divine presence and the cosmos is your partner, and you are both beautifully integrating and working together in order for you to say, I have these desires as an individual. I want to create this reality structure as an individual. And also I wish to honor and integrate with the larger, bigger picture of what is going on. That's part of being a responsive, virtuous virtuoso, responsive, responsible galactic citizen. You don't just do what is good for number one, good for me. And I joke in my classes all this time. I'm looking out for number one. I'm doing what's right for me, like the tough guy voice. That will only bring you so far. And it is essential at a certain point to say, I'm not just looking out for number one. I'm absolutely integrating my own personal individual desires and balancing that with my responsibility to community, to ecosystem, which would mean the entirety of all life in your planetary structure, and also and beyond, because your consciousness is not separate from everything else. And I say this all the time too. You are not merely swimming around in your own private kiddie pool of consciousness. You are connected to a galactic ocean of consciousness. And that is what my class is really about. You are becoming a full spectrum human. That means you are moving beyond the definition of self, or dilating and expanding your definition of self to becoming a galactic presence. And when you're at that presence, you're like, I don't want to do just what's right for me. Like, get rich in real estate, hooray! Which I'm not making fun of anyone, but that's what a lot of these, personal coaching and abundance classes are all about. That's great if you want to get rich in real estate, and also it is necessary to do what you do and find your personal success, not at the expense of everything else, not by destabilizing the entirety of the time structure, not by taking anything away or diminishing any other humans or other life forms. And that life form can also include the definition of time as an alive being. So to speak in positives, because I'm very big about speaking in positives. Oh, good. Lucy is here. This is a lovely long-term, both friend and student of this class. Oh, hold on, I'm just waiting until Lucy joins in, and then I'll do a little. Lucy, so great to see you. So Lucy is my publisher from way back when I lived in Woodstock, when I was just beginning. Hello, welcome. It's so great for you to be here. Just beginning to do my teachings and my classes formally. Hi, great to see you. That what I did 10 years ago was create Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans, a set of DVDs. Because even I have to say this, like 10 years, like not a lot of people use DVDs now. Everything is streaming. But back then, I did, and I still have available if you need to or want to find them, like physical CDs that are ways that people could have the information. So Lucy is my publisher for these DVDs and is a wonderful supporter and encourager of my work along the way, and also a student of this class. And also, yeah, Lucy's wonderful. Also, person on her own personal journey, a returning student. So that is the way I run this class, that I love to do this actually, because people really do grow and change over many, many years. And the information that I present, like when you first hear it, it has a certain level of impact. And then when you hear it again, as you're in a new perspective on your journey, it might land differently. And then you have a different impact. So it's worth it to become a student. You only have to enroll once, and then you can become a participant in any time that I'm running this classes. You don't have to constantly re-enroll or pay a fee over and over and over. And I always say this too, I always offer scholarships, because what matters the most to me is that I do my cosmic job, do my cosmic assignment. My cosmic assignment is sharing this information about flying rainbow lasagna with this world so that it heals, uplifts, transforms, and makes better the entirety. That is it. That is the definition of doing more than looking out for number one. So I also joke about this. I have to keep my electrons flowing in a wire and pointing at my lamp. Like I have to pay my expenses of being here in the physicality realm, as we all do. So yes, I ask for support in terms of my work and what I have to share. So this, I know I've been speaking for almost an hour, and I think maybe I'll wrap it up sometime soon. But how do I do this class? How do I run things? So this has just been the intro to the intro. This isn't even really the information yet, but I wanted people to get a sense of who I am as a person. What is my energy field like? What is it like to be in this class? What is it like to connect with? I have such a wonderful student body. I have to virtually hug everyone. So I have over 500, maybe 600 people that have taken this class over the past 10 years. And then last semester, I had 50 participants. Not everybody tunes in at the actual moment when I do the live lectures, but I send out the archives to everyone at the end. So how do I run this class? First of all, it takes between 6 and 7 months to go through the whole entire teaching cycle. So if you pay a fee or if you do a scholarship, it's a commitment to learning over many, many months. But if you need to stop or come back another time, that's also okay. I've had people that hopped out and then hopped back on board later. It is accommodative of your life and flexible to your levels of comprehension. And it does take time to absorb, and it does take time to internalize the truth of what I'm sharing. Every lesson is a recorded whiteboard lesson. The whiteboard lessons are chopped up into 29-minute increments, because that was one of the things that I had to learn in, how do I share this stuff with humanity? The first couple of years, I would just be like, blah, here's everything all at once, and think that everyone would get it. And mostly people were like, that's too much all at once, too much lasagna all at once. So then I learned, okay, can't do a whole big giant pan of lasagna all at once. Got to cut it up into little meaningful bites. Pardon me, so sorry about that. Let me just drink a little bit more. And I do drink a lot of water during these presentations, because I'm running the marathon of consciousness here. Had to break up my presentations into manageable bite-sized pieces, because I found that when I just gave a whole big giant slice of lasagna, it was a bit intimidating. A bit intimidating if I just dumped too much lasagna on people's plate at once. What I learned was I had to learn what is people's learning style. And that in order to present this information in a way that would be accessible and digestible and make sense, what I had to do was be linear, which is hard for me because I'm usually nonlinear. So I had to start off with first this, then this, then this. So my lessons are very comprehensive, comprehensible, and begin with the very basic foundation building blocks of what are these concepts. So these are 29-minute long whiteboards. There's usually 2 per lesson. So lesson 1 has part 1 and part 2. And when you enroll, I give you the logins, or you receive the logins to those lessons, which are uploaded on Teachable. And again, 10 years ago, some people didn't have fast streaming service, or it was not a possibility to be able to easily access them on the website. Most people now have the accessibility to just access them on the website, but these are, of course, still available as physical printed DVDs. But you can also download them off of Teachable so that you don't always have to be connected to the internet. And then you can save them on your hard drive. Where's a hard drive? Just the same way that you would save like a textbook. It could be like, I put my Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans on my hard drive, and then I have it saved there because I really want you to feel like you are getting something that is of lasting value that you can also refer to later in your journey. So when you enroll in my class, you get to have all of these lessons that are, they go through things in a very orderly manner. You can download them and save them for forever. There's level 1 and level 2. And I did that because initially, I did the teaching cycle of 2013, and I did all of these concepts, kind of not touching them merely on the surface level, but just doing the introductory foundation work. And then I always find through teaching people that I'm like, okay, well, actually, I have to clarify this, go more into this, talk more about this, emphasize this. So then I recorded level 2, which is the advanced stuff. And I say this is very much like beginner physics and then advanced physics, where in beginner physics, you learn like, this is what an atom is, and this is what a proton is. And then these are what these basic concepts are. And then in advanced physics, you learn a little bit more about the significance, the profundity, what these things, how they relate, how all these things relate. So when I taught this class this past year, what I did was I alternated level 1 and level 2, because I also have been finding that I have so much to put into each live lecture that if I tried to do level 1 and level 2, it would be like 6 hours. That's just too long. That's too epic, too long. So even just focusing on one or the other, it's usually about a 2-hour presentation. So the way this class works is you do your homework. You get the textbook. It's fun textbook. It is a whiteboard where I draw lots of pictures and you hear my voice talking. And then you get to have that as your like foundation of understanding when you come to class. Class, I am tentatively scheduling on Wednesdays, which I enjoy as a weekday availability. And I am California time. So I'm choosing 12 p.m., the middle of the day, Pacific time. And that usually allows we have an international student body, which is so beautiful and gratifying. Many people are in North America and the Northern Hemisphere. So I try to schedule the class that the most people can attend live who possibly want to, while also still recognizing that there are many wonderful valued students who are simply in diverse time zones. So what I always do is do a recording, just as I'm doing a recording of this today, and then offer the archive. And the archive will be uploaded to YouTube so that people can access it. So some people who are finding me right now, you might already have been finding just the live lectures on YouTube. And I'm so thankful. I'm actually very happy that I'm able to reach people through that platform. I do check my numbers and I'm able to see that almost every week, pretty consistently, 350 to 400 people tune in to watch my live lectures on there. And I'm like, hooray, like I'm very, very happy I'm reaching that many people. And I want to encourage all of those people who are YouTube viewers, enroll formally so that you watch the whiteboards. Because if you're just watching the live lectures, you're getting a slice of the pie, but not the entire pie. Or you're getting a slice of the reality structure, but not the entire reality structure. And that what I do is the concepts that are presented in the whiteboard, I draw extensive pictures and diagrams, and I really do speak a lot. That's my primary method of communication in the world, is through visual, like art, and then secondary through music, and then tertiary, the third one, is through actual flapping of my moving mouth parts. So yeah, if you tune into those whiteboards, then it really does give you, like, I think, an excellent foundation for the concepts that I then present in the live lectures. And the live lectures that I did over this past year, I take extensive notes that are from the whiteboards on Teachable. And then I speak and present and also draw and use my wonderful sculptures. And I also customize. So what I recorded 10 years ago is still relevant to your journey right now. And everything is about planetary ascension. Like who am I trying to reach with this? I try to reach everyone with this, but who is really the people that are really receptive to this? Like I really am trying to reach out to people that are on their own personal journeys of self-cultivation, their own personal journeys of what we be considered or defined as personal ascension, moving at a faster and faster inner metabolic rate relevant, so that you're moving into your light body, beyond mere physicality, and into levels of less dense experience and embodied perspective. And that might be people that are developing their insight and their psychic powers, or connecting to this level of pure Christ consciousness and connection to divine intelligence. It can be people that are doing a lot of self-cultivation work, that have gone through all these levels of healing and transcendence of personal and ancestral trauma. And my stuff is super uplifting. So if you've already been doing like a lot of difficult toil in terms of shadow work or emotional transcendence, and like, you know, a lot of that stuff, I'm smiling, not because I'm an idiot, but because I relate to you, can be difficult. You're like dealing with emotions, sad things, bad things, hurtful things. When you get through with doing like, scrubbing all the dishes and doing all the dirty laundry, you get to do the fun stuff. I am absolutely all about the fun stuff. And the fun stuff is learning about these wonderful shapes of, it's an interdimensional language, harmonic language of color, line, shape, form, movement, texture, and tone. Tone being, turning on my piano here, musical tone. But that is what this is really all about. It is absolutely relevant to everybody's journey. It is super relevant to people that are on this journey of conscious self-cultivation and moving into ascension. And then also everything that I recorded 10 years ago was right around that December 21st, 2012 portal. That was very significant in terms of planetary ascension. We are now in another up-leveling of planetary ascension. And so the things that I recorded 10 years ago are absolutely still very relevant, still very connected to the reality. In fact, those were seeds that I planted 10 years ago that are coming to fruition now. And I'm always amazed. I was saying this earlier when I diverged from what I was saying, that I'm always amazed when I go back into my lessons that I recorded 10 years ago about the clarity and relevance of the stuff that I did back then, how much it relates to our journey right now, and how much it relates to everything that we are going through as individuals and as a collective in terms of soul trajectory, personal transformation, moving into higher levels of reality. Still totally relevant, still totally worthwhile. And blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm just losing my train of thought a little bit. So what does it look like to be in this class? You get, when you enroll, and I should say, how do I enroll? So I will keep the enrollment links in the description of this video. You can enroll in basically 3 ways. One is become a patron of mine on Patreon. That is a monthly subscribership, and you pay $25 a month to be able to be in the class. When you do that, you get the Teachable logins. I send them to you, and that's like getting the textbook for the class. And then it is open to you. You move at your own pace, but I present 1 lesson per week. So if it's going to be level 1, lesson 1, I'll tell everyone here are the class notes, which are what some people learn best through reading. So I say, here's a thing to read. And I also have that available as a PDF. I'll talk about the PDF soon too. You get the class notes to be able to read everything that the topic is going to be about. You get the recorded whiteboard, which is a visual presentation using a lot of drawings and diagrams where you also hear my voice talking. And then you are prepared for attending class, which is the live lecture that will be held in a place like this, which is the Zoom room, so that's not live on YouTube. And this is important because I don't want to have any distractions or detractors. Like when you just do something that is generalized and open to the general public, then sometimes there can be, not the nonsense brigade is what I call them. So it's really essential. I have only the enrolled students as part of the Q&A, as part of the actual presentation. And then I do the live presentation. And the live presentation is usually about 2 hours, but sometimes I'll warn you, it might be a marathon, depending upon how much I have to say, because I always customize everything that I'm sharing to be relevant to what we are personally going through right now. So everything that we were going through 10 years ago as a society or as a planet has changed and shifted. So I will say, this is what I recorded 10 years ago. This is what I have recorded now, or I'm sharing with you now. And I'll do a little bit of compare and contrast. And then also I get inspirations and visionary, I would call them downloads or connections in the moment of what I need to say in order to be relevant. And I also do a lot of those consensual telepathic email blasts, sending out colors, pictures, shapes, ideas, and profound knowings that are beyond what I'm doing with words. And that's part of what the live lecture is. So for anyone who's been watching the live lectures, getting part of the picture, I absolutely invite and encourage you to enroll and become a part of, get the everything. And so after I do the live lectures via Zoom, I have a recorded archive that I almost always upload within like by the end of the day or the next day. And that archive goes out to everyone who's on my email list. So when you enroll, you're on my email list, and I send you an email that says, here's class notes plus an invitation to the day and the time of when the live lecture will be. And then I send you one more email as a follow-up where I say, here's the archive of where you can watch that live lecture. And then I'll do the same thing the next week. And that is how you participate in the class. I am always open and receptive and celebratory of people's questions. You can email me questions. You can write questions in the comments section of YouTube. You can write questions in the comments section of Teachable. You can write questions in Patreon. So one of the ways that you can enroll is $25 a month on Patreon. One of the other ways you can enroll is by purchasing Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans, either level 1 or level 2, just as a chunk, just as the entirety, and it's $185 for level 1 and $125 for level 2, or there's a package deal that I have that's a link that's available that I will share if you buy level 1 and level 2 together. Or the third way that you can participate is by asking me for a scholarship, and I make that option open because, again, I'm telling you, this is my cosmic job, and I have to make sure that this information is available for people that are on their journey, whether or not they have the physical dollars to share it with me. And that is also exemplary of my value system, both as an embodied individual and as a collective outside of space, time, and consciousness. What is galactic society like? Your heart and your energy and your enthusiasm and your truthfulness and your authenticity, that is the true value of who you are. And this stuff with the economy and dollars is secondary to that. And also, I participate in this economy joyfully and joyously. I am here in this world where we have physical structures that we live in and real estate, and you pay rent and you put gas in your car, all of those things. And I'm here in solidarity. That is very big. I joke about this in class all the time. Like, I could be like, I'm Aurora, I'm on a cloud, I'm floating along, everything's great. I don't have to worry about, any of my bills or the mundanities of life. And I could just be like, oh, guys, like, here's a few ideas. Here's the flying rainbow lasagna, go ascend. You'd be like, Aurora, like, that's not fair. Like, you don't have to deal with all these things that we have to deal with, like buying toilet paper and, whatever, cleaning up after the kids when they crayon on the walls or any of those things. And be like, yes, it's true. I am here in solidarity with you. I am here facing the same challenges, even though my journey is different as a walk-in and my journey is unique to me. I honor your journeys. They're all unique to you. And I am here problem solving and exemplifying those problem solvings, including the transcendence of death in a physical body, the transcendence of chronological aging and disease in a physical body. Get it? And I don't mean to say not just, because there are wonderful disembodied, non-corporeal, I should say, wonderful non-corporeal light body consciousnesses that are fantastic presences that love, surround, and surround and uplift us all the time. So I don't want to say like not just some light being or whatever, because they're wonderful. And also there have been real challenges to human beings being able to see and hear and sense and interact with those light beings. It's part of my cosmic job to be able to be here, share this information with you directly so that you can go on your journey to becoming a cosmic light being yourself. You got it? So I am here in solidarity with you. I'm also, you can consider me a graduate. Like, I already have graduated from this level of being, and I am backbending back into time because I saw that there were great injustices, and that if you don't help the next class to graduate, then there's not going to be graduates up here at this class. That's the way that all of this works. If you could imagine like mountain climbers, and you have different levels, and then there are some guys that have already summited and they're up here at the summit, but they left behind all of their ropes, all of their climbing ropes, all of their carabiners, all of their everything, and they help to pull the next level of graduates up. And if you don't do that, if these guys don't graduate up to here, then no one's there to help this. It is a whole entire beautiful system of reciprocity and help and assistance. So those who are already coherent light beings are absolutely here in assistance and help and service to those who are embodied. I was a non-embodied coherent light being. I am now embodied in the physicality because there were a lot of problems at being able to get information here. Being able to plant the seeds here. If you want to have the next class graduate, you have to plant these seeds in the human consciousness so that people change and grow, and transform is a better word than change, so that people are cultivated, transform, and grow in the direction that they need to grow, so that there is a graduating class. So I'm like a grad student that is here in order to share this information with you. It is my job joy. It is absolutely my cosmic assignment. And that is my prioritization in what I share. You got it? I know you can, I know you feel my heart. I know you do. And then secondarily, payments that help to support me in my life so that I can do all the things that need to be done in this physicality structure. Definitely encourage people to enroll, and never want money to be the thing that stops you from participating. If you have a great mind, and if you have a heart that is engaged in all of this, and you want to connect with all of this, you should not have to be like, but I look at my bank account and I don't have enough dollars to be able to be here. The third way to enroll is to send me an email or a comment, ask me for a scholarship. And I find that it does always end up balancing out, that people that are able to pay for tuition and enrollment fees balance out the people that I give scholarships to, and that I have the most wonderful student body. Let me just do this because I have dog hair in my eye. I have the most wonderful student body of people who are intelligent, heart-centered, engaged, fun, uplifting of others. Oh, Lucy's sending me a message. Let me read this. Oh, let me also say this. Great, very good. So Lucy reminds me in private message over here. So I do a variety of things, actually, in terms of my physical resources in the world. So I do this online class. I also do my original artwork. I design it into fabrics, and I design the fabrics into clothing. And then I have an online shop, and that's on my Etsy. And I have done that since 2017. So I actually have a lot of really beautiful, affordable things. That's another really actually great way of supporting me and supporting the work and the information, the sharing that I do here. So I have both women's wear and men's wear and some homewares, and it's everything. I don't have all of my paintings up, but hopefully by next week I will. I have all of these wonderful, brightly colored, polygonal, meaning polygons, multi-sided shapes, polygon designs. And also I do have small lasagna sculptures available and other forms of prints of my work. So I do that, and that's available on my Etsy. If you want to find anything, Lucy is holding up some of her items that she has from my store. I'm so happy to see that. If you want to find that, how do I find your shop online? Of course, I will include the link in my description, but you can do a simple keyword search for flying rainbow lasagna. And lasagna has an E on the end, Lasagne. And if you do that, you will also find my music, which is a huge part of my life and my self-expression. So I like to joke, I am made of music. Like, I'm a waveform pattern. I usually don't have two eyes, a nose, and a mouth. I usually have a bunch of waveforms that are moving like this. And that is what the lasagna dance really is. So you can find my music on places like official Apple Music, Spotify, Bandcamp. It might be hard to find my music if you just do a search for Aurora, because there are many artists and bands and even symphonies that are called Aurora. So do a search for something like Birth of the Flying Rainbow Lasagna. And if you find that album, it's one of my earlier pieces, then you can find the artist and everything else that I've done from there. So check out my music. I absolutely encourage you to, because music is a big part of my life and my self-expression. And the Flying Rainbow Lasagna, this thing that I teach about in my class, is more than just an intellectual ism. It's more than just a set of ideas. When I teach my class, I'm appealing to the intellectual, rational intelligence, analytical gatekeeper, which basically tells your body what you think is possible or impossible in your life. All right. And I'm telling you much, much more is possible in terms of your physicality structure and what you can do. Healing, regeneration, what would be called time jumping, or being able to jump timelines, and even co-creative reality structures. And again, that's beyond merely manifesting money or a vacation or something like that. Beyond that, really manifesting greater reality structures, what people are calling new earth and things like that. A total transformation of the socioeconomic dynamics on this planet. That's what you really want. You don't just want a 2-week vacation in a luxury spa. You want to change your whole entire planet. I'm telling you, this is what you really want. Because it's like, imagine that I'm like, whatever, a server in a restaurant. And you're like, wait, I think I want to order this on the menu. I'm like, no, that's what you think you want off the menu. But I know what's really good at this restaurant. You want total planetary liberation. That's what you want. Oh, and that's actually a very good segue. My most recent album that I just released is called Meta Liberation. Meta is the prefix meaning overarching, means liberation for all consciousnesses. And a lot of what I teach about in my class has to do with what do we do with positive consciousnesses? What do we do with negative consciousnesses? How do we heal from trauma? But not in the sense of ordinary shadow work, what is being done, really in the sense of empowerment structures through your mind, of comprehending what is entropy and what it is to have some aspects of self go to energy and be in an endless field of coherent light, and some aspects of self go to entropy, which is stillness. So please find my music, please find my online shop, please enroll. And what as more like, I'm trying to be very authentic and I'm not very sales pitchy at all, but I want to get this across to you. I've been here on this planet for 20 years. I have amazingly profound and extremely accurate higher dimensional information. I know that there are very, very many ascension teachers and ascension coaches, life coaches, all sorts of different people out there. And I'm very confident that everybody always finds their audience or their people that need exactly what they have to offer. I have huge gifts of huge value to offer you in terms of very clear, very concise information about the way the cosmos is structured, non-interpretive, not saying I think this, or it's just what I find to be convenient, or it's just my truth. Really accurate truth that is non-negotiable, kind of like the math of 1 + 1 = 2. And so this shape, here are the things that I teach about that are really valuable and that I love to share with others, and what sets me apart from other teachers. The exact shape of what chakras are shaped like. Many people recognize and acknowledge chakras. Chakras are more than a glowing ball of light. They have a structure, and that structure has actual pathways that flow through it. And that when you learn about these and you are able to master these, it is a big part of like learning about your inner anatomy. If you're an athlete and you learn about your heart, lungs, it helps you to run better. If you're a woman and you learn about your reproductive cycle, like it helps you to know when you want to be fertile and what's going on with your body. Learning about your body is empowerment. Learning about your chakras is empowerment. I also teach extensively about this higher dimensional shape, flying rainbow lasagna, as it relates to DNA. So a lot of people talk about like reweaving your DNA, quote unquote, DNA activations, 12-strand DNA, all that stuff. That's, again, I'm happy that there are other teachers and that they're teaching on that level. This is the advanced level. I give very accurate presentations of exactly what your DNA is, what it is doing with its vibratory dance, with its inner vibratory dance movements. And then also this flying rainbow lasagna. This is a static sculpture that I'm holding up, but I have animations that show the way that it undulates and moves. And what I actually teach is that these concepts that are coming inside of you on an intellectual level have a transformative effect and teach you a lot new dance movements for your DNA that allow you to find greater levels of freedom and empowerment, to be able to experience new timelines or even create new timelines. I teach that dance. So this class is the intellectual framework of what learning that dance is. And then I also do have a separate teaching or sharing or workshopping, however you would like to say it. It's a sacred dance. So again, it is like a very special way of sharing that I do show it's a real dance. And that's why I do my music. Every day I write music, and every day I do my real dance with my real body and my real DNA. And I've been doing that for 20 years as a virtuoso. And I invite and encourage others to be a part of this, to learn and grow so that you can also be a part of this amazing galactic society of really civilized, really uplifted, really profoundly loving creatures, organisms, or consciousness levels that is even beyond what it is to be human. So again, many, many people that talk about star seeds, Arcturian, Pleiadian, it's wonderful that that teaching is happening on that level. What I'm teaching about is connecting to galactic scale consciousness that is even beyond the definition of the origin of where you came from. You got it? Not just one star system, but really becoming a part of the symphony of life, the cosmic band, and being able to play your unique song. That's very big. Also, that I emphasize that returning students know about this, that everything that I teach about is to say, I do my thing like this. I have my own unique genetic code. And what I do is say, take these examples or these templates and run with it. Make it your own. If I wrote a song or wrote lyrics, I would say, please take my song, play it on your own guitar or on your own piano or on the vibrating strings of your own DNA, and then change and transform your own life. That is everything about the way that I teach. So none of this is about you must conform to me or to my idea system or only do it my way. No, everything that I do is offered in love and in freedom. Everything is a sharing for your own personal empowerment, with love meaning total unconditional acceptance of who you are as a unique individual and your unique value and your unique place in the cosmic symphony. And everything about me, as I am a real art and music teacher, and I teach classes like that too, and do creative mentorship too. Oh yeah, I mean, I do personal sessions for creative mentorship, for spiritual guidance, for lasagna dancing, for so much in people's questing in their lives. When I do that, everything that I do is about encouraging each person to unlock their full potential or to rise to their full greatness inside. And if you're a musician, I want you to play your own music, not sound like me or anyone else. And if you're an artist, I want you to paint in your own way. Not everybody do I say, you have to paint with this type of a paintbrush, and then you have to choose these colors, and then you have to do it my way. No. And same thing with your DNA. So what I do is I teach people a value system. I teach people about achieving their own greatness. And then I teach people about leveling up into these levels of profound personal responsibility and galactic maturity. And all of that stuff is all really, really fun, really hugely gratifying. And like I said, I have a wonderful student body of people who are engaged, caring about each other. So part of what's valuable, like if you join Patreon, there's a really great community there. And there's a Discord chat. The Discord is like the brand name or whatever of what it is, a chat room where people connect all the time, have conversations. There's basically a beautiful social connection beyond even what I teach in class. So positive social connections and reflections. If you feel like you are like the only person that knows about these things and you have no one to talk to, like there is a whole beautiful group of us that are on this journey and have been on this journey together. Please join this group. Please join our efforts. And that this is also about painting a beautiful picture of reality. Like your life is your masterpiece and reality is like a collective, larger painting or mural on a giant surface, and that you paint your portion, that is your part of your life, but these lives are all interconnected. Your life interconnects with other people. Who you are and what you do interconnects beautifully with other people. And so I'm very big on that, like the community of seekers and students and intelligent people and heart-centered people that are wonderful, that are all learning and sharing here. Totally beautiful, totally worthwhile, and so great for me to be connected to as a teacher, because you think you're getting a little bit from this presentation. When I first came here, like I did not know a lot of people that I could connect with on these things. Sometimes I thought I was the only sane person rather. Sometimes I thought I was the only sane person in this world. And all it was that it took me time to find the people who were open and receptive to my ideas and who were celebratory of who I am as a walk-in. And now I am connected to beautiful people who are so happy and appreciative, waving at some of them right now, that of my presence here, that it's just wonderful. Like now I have a wonderful, warm welcome to this planet and to the people that are here and to my efforts. I'm a galactic protector, guardian, uplifter, healer, teacher for everyone who is going through their own personal ascension experience here, and for the planet herself, and protector of time herself or itself or himself, their self, and of divinity and of cosmic laws. These are all really positive things that I love and support their existence in the teachings that I share in my own personal work that I do. So yes, I hope that you can sense all of those things that I define myself by. What is Aurora? What is Aurora the Collective? What are my characteristics? Very much based in freedom. That's what I'm talking about. Your freedom to paint your painting of your life as you are, and I'm encouraging you, and I'm a protector of you in this moment of becoming, because I'm like, hey, this person needs to be able to have the freedom and the space to be able to come into their greatness and to learn who and what they are. That is everything about who and what I am as an otherworldly visitor. And again, I've been here for 20 years. So although I'm a visitor, I'm certainly acculturated, and I care profoundly about this planet, about not only the people on this planet, but also all of the organisms who are here, the entire ecosystem, and the success of the planet, herself, itself, himself, themself, in leveling up. And I want to also offer endless encouragement, because you all and the planet have already done incredibly well in terms of navigating the past 20 years and continually like climbing the mountain. You're getting somewhere with all of this, and everything that I teach has to do with that getting somewhere. So I'm happy when I see other people are similarly sprinkling these ideas, sharing concepts, trying to guide and uplift humanity in their own way, using their own voice. I'm happy and I celebrate that. And then this is a continuation of my work that I've been doing for many decades. And I have my own unique information and my own unique, I would say, flavor and style of lasagna to be able to share with you. So that is actually a very good place to wrap up. I will include all of these links in the description. Please enroll. Class begins next week officially. Let me check my calendar so I'm saying the right day. 21st, September 21st, which is also the vernal equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. So a powerful day of beginning new things. September 21st at 12 p.m. Pacific time will be the new class. And don't worry, everything gets archived. If you work, if you're in a divergent time zone, or if you simply cannot be here for the entire presentation during that time, don't be concerned. So I'm going to end the recording for right now, but you know what always happens. I end the recording, and then we do generally have community connection and socializing afterwards, just because it's a beautiful group of people. So thank you so much.